Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Internet Nobodies podcast, where we are just a bunch of working boys looking to have some fun. So, who do we got here today?
Hey, it's me, Pete. Get your shit and get out.
Hey, it's me, internet celebrity Rob Lowe, and I'm the Mariano Rivera of this podcast.
Foolish Karen, I'm Dale, the manager.
And I'm Freddie. GameStop. That's the joke. GameStop. And this is the podcast.
I get it, because they're going out of business.
Pretty much. And that was the worst job I ever had.
Dun 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 dun. Womp womp.
All right, so today we're talking about our fun experiences of just being, general workers everywhere. Because I think between us, we've all had plenty of jobs.
Yep.
Too many.
What kind
I think
of
you've
jobs
had
are you talking
like
about?
more. Oh,
I'm sitting on, I think, 13 or 14 jobs.
I was about to say Dale probably has the most of all of us.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what happens when you
I probably
move
have
across
the
country.
I probably have the least amount of all of us in terms of like on the books jobs.
I think I
Because
might
I've
actually
technically
beat
been.
you.
Oh, well, we'll find out. Because like, I've technically been working since I was 10, like doing like odd jobs like landscaping and like moving stuff and babysitting. But my first like quote unquote real job was when I was 16 and I started working at Sears hardware. So not your mall Sears, but the Sears that you go to get tools.
They don't exist
specifically.
anymore.
Yeah, they don't exist
I mean,
anymore.
Sears
and
barely exists.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
true.
they're
Like
like-
the malls barely exist. Like I saw the writing on the wall. That's why I jumped ship.
They're all like abandoned.
Yeah.
There's like a couple skeletal remains of workers just shambling around.
Oh, so
I
Sunvet Mall.
remember.
Yeah.
I remember me and Rob actually went to what was once the Sears I worked at. What is it now? It's TJ Maxx.
Yes, I believe that's what it is.
Oh
now.
yeah, in
Yeah.
yeah,
Like,
that
yeah,
whole
we-
area that they redid.
Yeah, like they literally took because like a good quarter of the store was a stock room because lots of lawnmowers and like appliances and stuff in the back. You needed a lot of space for it. They like knocked down that whole wall, cut it in half, and I was just like, I wonder how the back looks like. So I just snuck in the back of the store. I was just like, I don't fucking care. They can't stop me. I just looked into the back. I was just like, wow, this place has changed.
They can't kick him out. That's where he belongs.
That's where I used to be. Like someone would be like, you don't belong here. It's like, sir.
You don't belong here. And they're just gonna have like an existential moment of, wait, do I not belong here?
It's like, do you not know who I am? And I just leave.
And then they're like, I'm finally free. I don't work here.
Thank you,
All my
mysterious
dreams are
bearded
coming
man.
The prophecy's been fulfilled. Our chin-stretched Messiah has arrived.
Oh God, yeah. Well, actually, when I started working at Sears, I had the first full beard.
Oh, the one that made you look like a backpack killer?
Yeah, because that was when my mustache and my beard didn't connect. It was kind of chin strappy, but it was kind of beardy still, and my mustache didn't connect because I didn't really have the ability to grow hair in that spot when I was younger. And then I got rid of the mustache because people were like, listen, bros don't let bros get mustaches. The only exception was like Tom Selleck, they said.
Oh, yeah.
So I was like,
That's fair.
So I was like, oh, okay. So I shaved my mustache off, and I was like, all right, now now all I have is this beard.
Remember
and then the
when
beard
Corey had
ended up
that
getting
weird like pedo porno mustache?
People ain't gonna know who he is, but yes.
Yeah, well, obviously I'm not gonna like.
I do remember.
Yeah, it was not a.
I mean, he is technically a part of our group for this podcast. He just
He is,
never
just
showed up
never-
yet.
There's never been
He's
on.
just yeah. I mean, he'll probably be a special guest because I like, you know, you internet celebrity Rob Lowe used to
Just
also
call-
be. I said internet celebrity Rob Lowe.
I heard like internet celebrity, and I was just like, wait, what?
I mean, listen,
Celebrity.
maybe I slipped up. Maybe it was just the group chat. Who knows? But
In celebrity.
Yeah.
Freddie just does a recap, like in slow mo.
Okay.
Can't believe
I'll do
Pete's
that.
calling me celibate. on the
I was
podcast.
joking. You don't have to really do it.
Do it. The prophecy must continue.
Yes, because I like, you know, you internet celebrity Rob Lowe, internet celebrity Rob Lowe, internet celebrity Rob.
There's a lot of prophecies happening.
Yeah, there
Speaking
is.
of prophecies, my first job was working for. Yeah, I guess we can say names of stores. I think that's probably
Yeah.
illegal.
Yeah, I mean, everyone probably has a Sears at one point. You don't know
Yeah,
where we were.
I worked for Toys R Us for my first job. For
Oh yeah, those don't even exist.
Yeah, I was
anymore.
gonna
They don't
say
even
what they're gonna
exist.
come and get at you.
Actually, my most recent job, I actually had to ask HR. I'm like, Toys R Us is dead, so I can't find the contact information for anyone. What do I do? They're like, just make up a number.
Yeah, just put zeros across the board.
Yeah.
Just
That's
get
why
the
I
old
hate
number.
when you have to do like one of those like online job thingies, and they won't let you move forward without filling every box. And I'm like, there's nothing to fill there, so then you just type in whatever
Oh, there
You just put N/A.
Yeah.
That's how you get around everything.
or a period.
Yeah.
N/A is the professional version. The period is the lazy version. And if you use the lazy version on your job application, you might not get that job.
Yeah, because I have managers who are not at that place anymore. So it's like I can't fill out who my supervisor was. Because A, they're not there anymore, and B, the people who are supervisors there now never met them.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah.
Toys R Us was awful. I worked there during seasonal for Christmas.
Ew.
Yeah, just after Thanksgiving. I think I started like right around Black Friday. And yeah, I remember my first week I got cursed out by an old lady.
Is this
Yeah,
why
those
you're
are the
the way
best.
you are, or did you get this job because you hate yourself?
We'll call him A, we'll call him B. No, it was all I could find.
That's
But
usually how it goes.
Yeah.
That's how I got
that's
my
usually how
first job.
jobs are. But yeah,
Like my friend's mother was like, "Hey, they have a job over there. You should go check it out." Because I was trying to find a job and no one would hire me because I was a 16-year-old, and they're like, "This person can't probably work."
but I got cursed out by an old lady because she was buying a stuffed animal, and it was what was it, like two for $10 or something, but it was like $10 normally. So she's like, it should be $5, and I'm like, no, you have to.
That's
buy
not how this works.
Yeah, I'm like, you have to buy two. The sign says that, and she's like, "Fuck you!" Like, and just got mad at me, started cursing. Her husband's like, just give him the $5, like. And then like immediately I clocked out, and I was like leaving, and I got stuck like walking behind her, trying like praying that she didn't turn around.
She'd be like, "Oh my God, he's coming to kill me."
Yeah, that's also that's
Yeah.
also the job where I learned the proper name for a nativity scene. Because I didn't know that's what those were called.
I could just imagine you literally just call it, the baby Jesus.
That
The baby Jesus
The
barn.
babby.
The
How
baby
does that-
Jesus barn.
Okay, I feel like we're
The
missing
Babby Jesus.
context. How did you learn about that from that experience?
because
did
there,
she say
there was a woman who was like, "Excuse me, where are your nativity scenes?" I'm like, "I'm sorry, or what?" And she's like, "Your nativity scenes?" I'm like, "I don't know what that is." She's like, "The little
baby
models of
Jesus.
baby Jesus being born." I'm like, "Oh, I don't think we have those."
Yeah, who goes to Toys R Us for that? You go to the Christmas tree shop for that.
Yeah.
That was probably before Christmas Tree Shop existed. At
I mean,
least here.
we sold some
Probably.
weird stuff occasionally.
There's one.
But
there was
also,
one
yeah, no,
Downport.
because Toys R Us had like that. When you walked in, they had like that seasonal section was just always full of Christmas stuff. I mean, I don't know how long ago they used to do that. Maybe not when Dale was there, but
This
I
was
remember the years
2009.
before they like closed shop. They would just have that seasonal section during Christmas. They just have like wrapping paper and all sorts
like
of gift
every-
stuff and a few
Oh, yeah.
decorations and stuff.
Yeah, lawn decorations and shit like that.
Yeah, like they might not have like an extravagant one, but they might have like You know,
But yeah, also like
because I bought a Peanuts one with Snoopy in. Snoopy's the baby. Snoopy's baby Jesus.
we also sold some like weird late night shit, like that little clip that girls can get for their bra that like basically pulls the two straps together to like give it a lift. We sold that at Toys R Us.
Wait,
Nice.
no, the thing goes in the back, right?
Yeah.
It's not to give it a lift. It's just so if you're wearing
thought
a
it-
shirt. No, it's if you're wearing like a shirt or something and the sleeves are off, so it like pushes them closer.
Oh yes, that's what it was.
Yeah, if you have like an X tank or something like that, so it doesn't just.
Men talking
I
about
can't-
women's accessories.
I can't remember.
Go wrong.
I can't remember my 2009 infomercials. Anyway,
Don't worry, that's what I'm here for.
Yes. So, where did you used
Here
to
to
work?
talk about the
Internet
slap
celebrity
chop.
Rob Lowe?
Chop. Wait, what?
I said, where'd you used to work? I know you used to work at the club.
I did. The Sam's Club.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was,
Bouncing for the club.
yeah, I was a bouncer at the club. That was the best thing when I would when I would introduce myself, and like people would be like, "Oh, what do you do?" I'd be like, "Oh, bouncer at the club." I wasn't even a door person there. You know, I worked at membership.
Sorry, you're not cool. You're not cool enough to shop here.
Yeah, basically. Okay. I don't know. You know what? Let's start a story. Let's start it out right. All right.
All right,
So-
let's get into it.
So I don't know if you guys know this. I'm sure Pete might, because I'm sure at some point we've had to deal with this. I have like it's not even like a fear. It's like an instinct. It's like a cerebral, like animalistic instinct within me. I get freaked out by amputees.
Okay.
Oh yeah, I remember you telling me this. Yes.
Like
Continue.
it's not like I'm gonna see somebody, I'm gonna be like, "Ah, hex upon you, demon." Like, no, it's just like my body is like, that person has gone through some shit. That means there's danger afoot. Like it's like a natural instinct of something's wrong right now. This person should not be like this. And I remember the one time I had to again at the club at the Sam's. One of the door people had to go on break. Not my department. I don't. That's like cashier, their supervisor. That was supposed to be the one handling that. I had nothing to do, and lady's like, "Yo, I need to go on break. They're busy up there. They're not even paying attention to me." And I'm like, "All right, I'm literally doing nothing of importance. Go to break, and I'll cover the door." Go to cover the door. Breaks are the first person who comes in as I'm sitting at the door, no legs, just coming in on a wheelchair, no legs, blanket covering like their bottom half, and I literally just like started like shaking of just like, there's a fucking demon bear or something outside. This man was just mauled. My body's just like, you need to like either dip or get like a gun or something, because shit's going down. This man has no legs, and I'm just like people walking in like, oh, you got your card? Yeah, great, good, go, just go and fuck this up.
What's the phobia called?
Apotemnophobia.
Of course there's a name for it.
There's a name
There's
for
a name for everything.
Yeah. But I'm literally just having like a mini like meltdown right now. And luckily, I guess because the door person on their way to the break room probably told like the cashier supervisor like, "Hey, I'm going to break, Rob's covering." So maybe 5 minutes later, they sent somebody to cover the door, and I don't even wait. Like, as soon as I see the person coming to cover the door, I book it. I don't even go to my desk. I just go to like down the aisles, down the furniture aisle, find the comfy couch, and I'm like, I'm gonna hang here for the next 20 minutes because I need to like calm the fuck down.
You just climb up a flight of stairs. He'll never find me.
Yeah,
here.
yeah. Well, bears can't climb the shelves in Sam's Club, especially demon bears. They're land-based animals. But yeah, so I just dipped like, and I was like, yes, thank you for sending a replacement, so I don't have to be here right now. And yeah, that's that story.
That was a story indeed.
That was a trip.
Yeah.
But yeah, I remember that story now that you tell me. Yeah. Freddie,
Don't
what
get
about you?
amputated,
You got-
kids.
I mean, unless you have to.
Yeah,
I mean,
sometimes it's beyond your own
if you
control.
have to, if it's, I mean, you do what you gotta
Don't do it because all the cool kids are doing it. Do it because you want.
Yeah. Be like Alex Smith. Make sure you don't get amputated. That's another sports reference that nobody on this show actually
Nope.
You're on the wrong podcast.
How
Yeah.
many references can Rob make in one episode?
Well,
Things no one will
if I
understand.
make enough, maybe Dave Portnoy or somebody will get me on
That's
their
3.
podcast. He's not a sports guy, but he has a sports podcast.
No, it's still a reference no one's going to get.
Yeah, okay, fine, fair.
So, Freddie, what work horror stories do you have?
I mean, GameStop itself and Party City were both just horror stories in general.
Oh God, Party City is. I feel like Party City would be worse.
Is
only
Party
because-
City not a city of party?
Oh no.
Oh.
Yeah, just imagine you guys just blast Andrew WK all
That's
day
what
and
they.
just, you know,
That's what they told Freddie. That's how they got him on board
That's
in
how
the first
they-
place.
yeah.
Aw.
They lied to me, those bastards. But no, Party City. There was one time someone silly stringed my manager's car, and she told me I had to clean it, and I'm like, I'm not cleaning it. It's not part of my. She's like, no, you have to. Like, I'm not. Eventually, she started like yelling at me, so I went and cleaned it, and I'm like, all right, I'm going on break. No, you're not. Yeah,
Wow.
I'm going on break now. I just cleaned your car, silly string, and I just left. And then like my next shift I was on, like the district manager from Party City was there, and he's like, you can't do this, you can't do that, and this and that, and I'm like, okay, but and then he kept interrupting me, so I interrupted him. You should know respect. Don't interrupt someone when they're talking. I'm like, motherfucker, you interrupted me like every other word. I'm like, this woman is a fucking psychopath. No one here likes her. She yells at everybody. There was one time I tried. She's like, you're the only guy here, so you have to do bathroom duty. I'm like,
That's a good one.
I'm like, that's a sexist comment. She's like, no, it's not. It's against the guy. It's not sexist. And she walked away. I'm like, if that,
One of those.
yeah,
She's a quote unquote feminist.
probably.
That's not a real feminist. That's just a reverse sexist.
She's like,
Or just a regular sexist, actually. Who am I kidding?
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
gonna say it's just reverse
Sexist.
sexism.
It's just sexism.
It's just sexism. But like, there was times where she lied to me. Like, I would call in for my schedule. I'd be like, hey, what's my schedule? Oh, you were supposed to hear at 10. I'm like, you couldn't have told me this? No. I get in. I wasn't even scheduled for that day. And I'm like, oh, don't worry, that'll happen more often.
Well, now that you're here, how would you like to work all day?
Yeah, pretty much. And then the one time she went to Ireland, I asked her, how was your trip? I don't know. I was blackout drunk the whole time.
Can't you
Nice.
do
Really?
it?
I mean, it's Ireland.
It's Ireland, but at the same time, is that
Well,
something
no.
you
The
tell your
thing
employees?
is, Irish people don't get blackout drunk because they can handle it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're constantly attached to an IV of nothing but Hennessy and Guinness. Sometimes mixed.
Don't put Guinness through an IV, kids.
Yeah.
Hennessy,
Yes,
maybe.
That's what we in the business call a joke.
Oh,
business.
like when Freddie did his intro. Oh, I get it. I get
There
it.
we
now.
go.
References that I don't get
yeah.
now.
Oh man. So I got a fun story that I like to tell every now and then.
Mm-hmm.
So it's the story about a thief, and someone getting fired, and
A thief, a lion, a witch, and
and
a
a
wart.
midget, and a midget.
Oh, Lord.
No joke. No joke. So, back when I still worked at the Sears of Hardwares, we had recently hired a new cashier. And what happened is this one really short guy came in and was like, he would go over to the corner of the store where we sold our drill bits. And I don't know if anyone who isn't tool savvy knows what a drill bit is. It's like, those little like heads you would see on a screwdriver, but you put it into a drill. And they're just like, 1-2 pieces per pack, or unless you buy a big pack. But this guy was going for the individual packs, and he was just shoving them down his pants and walking out the store. And he'd come in, go back over, put more in his pants, and walk out the store. Come back in, go over, put more in his pants, and go out the store. Meanwhile, the new person who we just hired, who I'm pretty sure was always like high or something, I can't tell.
Probably.
Can't
Just
see colors.
Just no, that's me.
Exactly. You couldn't tell. 'Cause you couldn't see colors.
God, shut up. So the person, like, literally just standing at the register, like, not even helping anybody, just standing there, like, blankly as this person walked in, left, walked in, left, walked in, left. Like, imagine seeing that. Literally just someone essentially doing laps around this person.
Just
'Cause you have
nodding
to
your
walk.
head. Seems all right.
They didn't even acknowledge the person. They were just staring into the void.
I mean, sometimes
So-
that's what you gotta do when you work retail.
Just make
I mean,
sure the
that's
void
fine.
doesn't stare back.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing. Like, you need to be somewhat, because, like, when someone puts a gun near your head and you're just still in the void, that's game over.
That's just looking down a
Yeah.
different void.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's looking at the end.
So what happened?
But anyway.
with this guy?
So
I
one of
thought
the
you were gonna like
supervisors-
segue into like a weird story of just like, yeah, let's talk about the time I had a gun on pulled up. Like what?
Oh man, that's another story. The time I got dragged out by police officers.
Oh, yeah, that-
because of
One,
that's a
one story at a
we'll-
time.
Yeah, we'll get to that later.
Also, the time you met somebody. Gotta tell that one.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. There's a lot of stories I could tell, but this
They're
one
all at
came up to mind
Sears.
first.
How about finishing
They are
the
all
one you
serious.
started?
Yeah, Rob. So, supervisor saw this person doing this on the camera, and then when he came in again, she chased him out of the store. After he like put more down his pants. I was nowhere near this. I was in the back in the stock room. So, the person ran out the store as she was chasing him out the store. And then she looked at the cashier and was just like, "What the hell is wrong with you?" She's like, and then she snapped to it. At that point, she's like, "Huh? What? What?" And she's like, and then they took her into the office. And then as she was walking in the office, the midget comes back in, and he walks up to the supervisor, and he says he wants to put in a complaint against her, and she loses her goddamn mind. She's like, "Get the fuck out of my store before I rip your head off!" And then he ran out the store and never came back.
Oh, well, there you go.
I feel
That's
like
one way to
I
get
feel like
rid
the
of someone.
play on that one would have been to like pretend you're taking a complaint. Meanwhile, somebody else is just like, "Yo, 911, we got a thief, a bloody thief over here, yeah, mate."
Yeah, I mean, honestly, that's the best way to fucking catch someone. It's like, yeah, go
Yeah,
ahead. And
you never catch anyone in retail stealing. If you want to steal something, you just do it, and they don't care.
Yeah, or I
Like,
mean, but in
I've
this
literally
case, he
seen
came
people
back
steal stuff
multiple
and-
times and then came
Yeah.
back again
Yeah.
after people knew. Like,
Actually,
Yep.
when
He
I
had a
worked-
pair.
when I worked at Stop and Shop, there was a dude who loaded up his cart with just full of things from the meat section, and then he tried to book it out the front door.
you thought he was
and-
playing Supermarket Sweep.
And one of the store supervisors, who is like 6'7" and a brick wall, followed by
Freddy?
Yeah, about Freddy size. And then another of my coworkers who was also Freddy sized. And
Oh
then,
my god, there's so many Freddys out in the world.
And
This
then,
is
like,
why
great.
Dale feels so short, because he literally surrounds himself, even at work, with giants.
well, no, because then there was the other store manager who was like probably my height or like an inch shorter, and all three of them were blocking the door. And then one of my department manager was like shouting to the desk to like call the police, and yeah, that guy got taken away.
Paddy wagon.
I'm surprised he was still in the store.
Yeah, well, they knew he was heading for that exit, and they just basically kind of intercepted him and blocked him off.
Interception!
He didn't-
Sports
he didn't
reference!
try- He's like, "Oh no, they're in front of me. There's no other ways out of this store."
Pretty much. Well, I mean, it's, automatic doors, which they had locked and turned off.
Oh, well.
Yeah. So yeah, let's see. What other stories do I have? What's a good Stop and Shop story to tell? You guys have heard some of them. There was-
Oh man, I love it when you have people come in who are on drugs.
Oh, God, I'm trying to remember like any specific drug ones.
Yeah, I
Wait,
feel like
wait.
that's any retail
Like they just like
establishment.
what they like whenever they, because people who don't know, you have long hair and have always have long hair. So when people see you, they assume you know where the good stuff is.
Oh yeah, that time that two people came in asking me where they could find the black people items, and then I said, "Excuse me, as you can see, I am a ghost of a boy." And they were like, like do-rags and hair grease. Also, where can we get some weed? And I'm like, I don't know, because I don't smoke weed. And they're like, come on, you can tell us. I'm like, no, really, I don't smoke weed.
You should have been like, I don't smoke weed, but do-rags, aisle 7.
You see this? That's when you go wait right here. You go get some like oregano or something, put it in a bag, and try to sell it to them.
I mean, they would have had a better chance asking literally anyone else in that store. Let's see. There was also there was a drunk guy who was trying to buy beer. There's a lesbian bathroom story.
Yeah, tell that.
Oh man, I love lesbian bathroom story.
Come on.
Yeah, I'll tell that one.
That's a good.
All right, so
that's a good one.
I was on closing register, and about 15 minutes before closing, and the guy who was closing with me, we'll call him Brendan.
Brendan Fraser.
I think that was his name.
Let's call him that, because I believe that was his actual name.
It was something with a V. But he was like, yeah, I'm going to go do sweep the store, make sure there's, no customers left. And then, we can close and go home. I'm like, all right, cool. So as he goes off, two women enter the store, and I see them head straight through the door, through produce. They hook around, go down a couple aisles, go down the aisle, and then walk behind the register behind me and head straight into the bathroom. And I'm like, all right, that was weird.
Wait, so they went into the store,
they
walked
did a huge
through the store, and then
lap.
immediately went back to the front?
Yeah, they basically did from the door to the bathrooms, which were behind me. They just basically did a huge U-turn.
Okay.
I like to imagine that they're just like, well, they won't let anyone just use the bathroom. We gotta pretend we're shopping.
Yeah.
They had to drift
Never mind
first.
that we're walking by someone on register right near the bathroom. So they go in there, and then Brendan comes back, and he's like, all right, so there's like one woman and like two guys still shopping, and then we're good. I'm like, oh, and the two women that just walked in. And he's like, what? I'm like, yeah, these two women just walked in, went down that aisle, and into the bathroom. And he's like, oh, that's weird. All right, whatever. So I ring up the last customers, and it's like 10 minutes to close, and he's like, so is that everyone? I'm like, no, those two girls are still in the bathroom. He's like, that's all right. So he gets on the intercom. He's like, it's 7 minutes to closing. It's like 10. And like every couple minutes, he just gets on the intercom again. It's like, all right, like less and less time until closing. And eventually, he's just like, all right, this is ridiculous. And the night manager comes around. He's like, why the fuck are you guys still here? Like, close, go home. You're not supposed to be here. And we're like, well, there's two women in the bathroom. And he's like, oh, all right. So he leaves. And eventually, Brendan's just like, all right, there's only one woman worker left in the store. I'll go get her. So he goes to the bakery and gets the bakery manager, who is this very old-fashioned conservative Christian woman.
Oh.
So
here we
he
go.
sends her into the bathroom.
To fight the lesbians.
She walks in, she disappears for like 10 seconds, and then comes out beet red, mutters something to Brendan as she walks by him, who then begins to double over laughing, as I'm just sitting there like, what is happening? Because I thought they were doing drugs. And Brendan comes over and he's like, yeah, she went into the bathroom, and apparently those two girls are going at it in the bathroom.
Nice.
And I'm just like, okay, that was my second guess.
Now, did the next question is, well, did they stop when she walked in?
They did come out like 2 minutes later.
They invited her, and then when she left, they were like, all right.
But yeah, so basically what happened was, one of the guys from Frozen came around and is like, why are you guys still here? We're like, well, there's two lesbians going at it in the bathroom. And he just stops and he looks at Brendan, who was talking to him, and he's like, were they hot? And Brendan's just like, well, Dale's the only one that saw them.
Everyone looks at Dale in anticipation.
Exactly. And then later the night guy comes around again. He's like, so what's the deal? And they're like, well, those two girls are going at it in the bathroom. And he's like, Well, are they hot? and Brendan and the guy from Frozen both say, well, Dale's the only one that saw them.
So everyone then again looks at Dale in
everyone just looks at
anticipation.
me and is like, well?
And
like,
Dale's
yeah,
just like, well, I was looking into the void this entire time.
But yeah, the best part was the follow-up to that story is like, I think like 2 days later, I was working, and I was telling one of my coworkers about this, and out of the corner of my eye, I look, and there they are again. But it
So
was at,
you
like,
so you
4 in the
recognize them.
afternoon.
So Dale, officially.
Yeah, they
Are
were
they
pretty
hot?
Yep.
All right.
All right.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's it. Good story. It ends on a high note.
It's always a good one.
I like that one.
Okay, hold on,
I don't
Dale.
have anything
There was
good like
one
that.
story, and I don't remember. I want to say it was you, but it could have been any other person. Was it you telling the story about like a customer coming in and shitting their pants and then like?
Oh, that was me.
Oh.
Yeah, that's never happened to me.
Oh well,
That was
there you
me.
go.
Was it the person who like shit the floor in the bathroom?
Yeah.
Yep, that was me.
All right.
So
Good segue.
Yeah, it's good seg. Yeah, good seg you. If that's how you say it. So I had worked at Sears for a little bit, and we had this one guy who I worked with. He was in the men's room using the stall, and we only have one stall in the men's room and one urinal. So
That's just asking for trouble.
yeah, like the women's, like I feel like you should just have stalls just in case of emergencies like that. Like just a urinal and a stall is kind of silly. Like if you have at least 2 stalls, and I digress. Anyway, so my coworker is in the stall. Someone runs in and knocks on the stall door. Like doesn't even knock, tries to open it. He's like, occupied. So he just sees the feet of this person go from the stall in the front of the stall to the left of the stall. And to the left of the stall is the urinal. And what does this guy do? He doesn't shit in the urinal. He literally uses the urinal as a back and just shits on the floor.
Ugh.
And this is just like like this guy must have really had to go because it was so much, and it was like just a lake of shit. It wasn't even solid. It was like. And what pisses me off is that we have a goddamn storm drain in the center of the bathroom that I would have been okay with him shitting on that because then it could have gone down there at least. But no, he has to shit under the urinal, which then leaks under the sink and then leaks into the goddamn stall. So now my coworker who's using the stall now is stuck in there with a lake of shit on the floor in the men's room.
No, the floor is lava.
And he says that this person literally, he can hear him unbuckle his pants, bend over, and just shit a waterfall. And then he just pulls his pants up and leaves.
Oh.
So he didn't even attempt to wipe or do anything.
was
like,
there.
like if it was that bad, I would have ran to the women's room. I wouldn't give a fuck. I've done it before.
Yeah.
Like it was so it's towards the end of the night too. Like it's like close to closing time. And he comes out of the bathroom and and we're all in the front just bullshitting. He comes up, he's like, someone just shit all over the floor in the men's room. And we're like, no. And he's like, and we're just like, how bad is it? He's like, it's real bad. Like there's not a chunk to be seen.
Oh God! All right.
So we're just like, oh my God. So we all, literally everybody left their station. Like we go and like we're closed now. We're closed now. We go to the bathroom. We look and we're just like, oh my God, it smells horrible. It's all over. We're just like, I ain't cleaning that. I ain't cleaning that. You could fucking fire me. I ain't cleaning that. So we're just like all looking at each other like the manager's like, someone's got to clean it. Like, not any of us.
Hire a fucking hazmat team.
Yeah, I was
Like-
gonna say, how old were you at the time?
I was like 18, 19
Okay.
at the time.
I was gonna
like,
say, if
fuck
you're under
that.
18, you wouldn't be able to legally clean it.
Yeah, I was old enough, unfortunately.
Okay.
But I wasn't gonna. So we're just like, what do we do? Someone just goes, get the new guy to do it!
Oh.
And he wasn't with us, so we were just like, "Hey, Johnny, we got a job for you."
Oh, poor Johnny.
Poor Johnny. We're just like, he's just like, "How do I clean it?" We're just like, "Here's some garbage bags. Try scooping it up."
Oh,
I felt so bad for Johnny, but not bad enough that I would help.
Oh
So-
god.
God, that
good
Wait,
aisle five,
okay,
get a shovel.
Did Johnny actually stay?
Yeah, he did. Johnny stayed still.
Yo, if that was me,
That's a team player.
if that was me, I'm the new guy. Like, I don't know how new, but if I'm
Yeah,
like,
Johnny was also older than me. He was like 20 at the time.
bro,
21.
no. If I'm like a week in, I don't even know you fucks, and then you're like, yo, just clean up this lake of shit. I'm like, all right, there's other hardware stores, all right.
Oh my god, yeah.
Yeah.
It was just well, here's the thing. You know why he probably didn't is because we didn't know it at the time, but we hired 2 new people. We hired him and we hired Denise. What we didn't know is that before we hired them, they both applied, but that's because they're both dating before they started working. So when we hired them both at the same time, not knowing, he probably didn't want to leave because he's working with his girlfriend.
Oh.
How cute.
So that's probably what made him stay.
Honestly, if I was either of those 2 people in the story, Johnny or the guy that was in the bathroom when it happened, I would have quit. I was expecting the story. He's like, and then he left the bathroom and came
was
to
never
us while we were
seen again.
bullshitting and
Like,
said,
that's
"I'm
the thing,
leaving
like-
now."
Like, I can't imagine that he left with clean pants. Like,
Oh, no.
like he must have like ran out of the store while no one was looking or something. Because there's no way that this man, who apparently was wearing dress pants, like would not have been noticed with like a brown streak down his whole leg.
Wow. That, yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of like running into the women's bathroom, I was not feeling well once and I needed to use the bathroom, and the bathroom at Stop and Shop was 2 stalls and a urinal, and both stalls were out of order.
Because
Ooh.
men are
And
monsters.
No, because when I told my supervisor at the time, like, I really need to use the bathroom, both stalls are broken, and before I could continue saying anything, she goes, "Ugh, yeah, Jim." I'm like, one person broke 2 stalls?
Yep. Apparently.
And I'm like, can I
Pete's
just
proud
run
of that man.
I'm like,
I hold this man in high regards now.
So I was just no, because he was caught like masturbating in the bathroom stall as well.
Is that what broke it?
No,
Like, his,
The toilet's
Pussy got
pregnant.
how big was his loads?
no, but basically, so I was like, can I just like run to the McDonald's like in our parking lot, just use the bathroom there? And she's like, I'm just gonna go check the women's bathroom. I'm like, okay. And she's like, she goes in, she's like, there's no one in there, just use that. I'm like, all right.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is weird.
Yeah. So,
This is why
Dale
I
saw
think,
the couch. He saw the makeup
this is why-
dispenser. The other
This is
dispenser.
why I'm all for bathrooms being gender neutral, because there's just more options for me now.
Also remember another time when I was my second time working there, when I was working at Dairy. I was in the back room and I walked out into like the kind of like, you know, like the cages they have in the backs of like stores like that have all the stuff that's like, we can't just let anyone get to this, like the beer.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, the back where the loading bay is. There's just a customer wandering around. She comes out from around a corner and she's like, "Is this not where the bathrooms are?"
Oh my god.
and I just looked at her because I'm like, all right, like, who doesn't recognize the back of a store? Like, if you're ever wandering around a
Like-
store and you see people coming out from the back, you get to
The
see
back of any store is always just 2 push doors.
yeah, it's all 2 push
Yeah.
doors and then like gray concrete.
and it gets and then it gets real dark.
And yeah, yeah. And the other thing that fucking weirded me out was that the way that she was carrying her phone, it was not between her boobs, it was just on one of her boob.
It was boob adjacent.
It was like laying face down on one of her boobs, and that's how she just walked around. I'm just like,
What, like
who
not
is
even
this-
like in her shirt or like her bra? It was just on
no,
top.
it was on top of her boob.
You know what? That
was
woman
also-
deserves that round of applause.
She's also like 6'4". I'm just like,
Oh my God.
Whoa.
I'm like,
You know
who
what?
is this?
I'm into what you're putting down right now, Dale. Can we find
saw
this woman?
I saw a cryptid, is what I saw.
I mean, I had to use the bathroom one time at, I don't know where I was, somewhere out in like, was it not Islip? Somewhere around there.
That's
And
a
I was
bad
like, yeah,
place
can
to
you?
have to use the bathroom.
Well, I'm not Islip. It's near Oakdale, not Islip. Not Islip.
Place
Bohemia?
probably ain't relevant to story.
Yeah.
Where were
no, not
where'd you go?
Bohemia.
Further down.
Yeah, I forgot the town name, but I was like, "Can I use the bathroom?" Like, "Oh yeah, it's in the back." And I'm like, "Okay." Like, "Yeah, you go in the back, you'll pass some boxes, you'll see it." I'm like,
Cool.
"Okay." So like, I'm walking around the back, and I'm just like, "This is awkward." Hope no one comes in here and finds me just wandering around the back of the store. No one did. So, and I walked out. My friend was there. He's like, "The fuck you doing?" I'm like, "Don't worry about it."
I work here now.
It sounds
don't
like-
worry
Yeah.
about it.
This is
It
where
sounds
I
like he sent-
belong.
It sounds like he sent you to the employee bathroom.
He probably. I think that was the only bathroom in the store.
Oh, wow.
Maybe
what it
he
was.
thought Freddy was an employee.
He's-
Speaking of poops,
Can we not?
this is Poopcast 2021.
Poopcast. Have you guys heard of the app? Like, I don't even remember what it's called, but it's a map, and you like literally will mark down locations. That
Oh
you've
yeah,
pooped
where
on,
you
and you like rate the bathroom and stuff. And you can
Yeah,
like be
I've
in
heard of
you could be in a
this.
group with like your friends and stuff, so everyone knows. Like,
I never did it, surprisingly enough, but I do know it.
yeah,
I know what you're talking about. Yeah, I'd never.
yeah, Dale, you know what we're
I
talking about?
don't know the name.
I've never heard of this.
It's literally imagine Google Maps, but you put down markers of where you shit, and it'll be like,
No, yeah, it sounds like Foursquare.
yeah, basically.
Yeah,
For toilets,
Foursquare for
and you
poo.
can
Poo
rate the
square.
toilet.
I mean, that's actually not a bad idea.
And then if you're like in a group with people, it'll like keep your stats. So if you shit in enough locations and stuff, yeah,
You're on the
may
leaderboard.
yeah, it may have like an aggregate. Like, oh man, this person only poops in has an average of 4.7 on their shitters. Maybe I don't know.
I do like the. I think an app that marks where public bathrooms are is pretty useful,
Yeah, that's
See,
especially if you're in somewhere like New York City, where it's like you have to pay.
You
Or
just
be a
find a
customer or whatever.
Yeah, he's got to find like a oh no.
go to Starbucks and then buy.
Yeah, find a Starbucks. Just get like a water and just go to the bathroom.
See,
Yeah.
I'm the kind of person I want secret bathrooms, right? Like when
Secret bathrooms.
bro, when I was in college, like I would literally go to like the mathematics building because they had a
the basement toilet?
and that nobody was ever. I
Yeah.
don't actually know what classes were in that basement, but nobody was ever there.
Oh,
So-
I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, where it had that giant like the little indent hangout area like in the ground.
Yeah, where we
Yeah.
all had our picnic down there
Yeah,
one weekend.
and down
yeah.
there, there's a set of bathrooms, and they're old, but they're always like cleaned. I remember one time, and nobody's ever there because I don't know what classes were over there. So I would just go there, and I remember one time it was like, literally the cleaning lady had just come out, and I was like, yeah, buddy. And nobody
remember
would
hearing
secret
about this,
bathroom
and-
or I think it was like the engineering building or something like that. Again, nobody's ever there, and those were new. Sparkling, pristine. Yeah, I don't want that. I don't
Love
want
it.
people to
You
know
love
where
to
my
see it.
shitter is. Secret bathroom. Hashtag.
No, I remember one time you said that you ran into someone who also used that,
Yeah.
and you
One
just had this weird moment of like silent recognition.
Yeah,
Just
literally.
like that head nod.
It was. As I was going, he had come out, and we both kind of had that moment of like, wait, who are you? What are you doing here? But we had we had that moment at first. It was like when two dogs first meet each other. At first they're like, "Yo, I'm gonna have to fuck this bitch up," and then you're like, "Nah, he cool. Don't let me catch you here again, though."
It's like, we'll have to set up a schedule.
Yeah,
You swore a blood oath to never tell anyone.
yeah. And now the oath has been broken.
Hey, you're not there
Yeah,
anymore.
'cause-
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, they're taking my blood as we speak.
I remember doing that at the Selden campus, trying to find the most remote bathrooms and be like, this is where I go when I need to be away from everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah, the one in the game room was pretty bad.
Oh, it was awful.
Oh,
Well, yeah.
I still
look at
remember the one time
people
I
who
walked in,
went-
there was people.
Well, actually, it was the entire cafeteria that
game.
used that one. But like,
I know I would use that one occasionally, but there was the one all the way upstairs,
yeah,
like the back corner. I would use.
because nobody ever went upstairs.
Exactly. No one went upstairs over there, so I would just go to the one over in the corner. It was like only like faculty used it for some. So,
Yeah.
but I still remember the one in the game room. There was 2 different times. One time, I went to go walk in. There was 2 people having sex. I just went, "That's romantic," and just walked out.
But wait, is there was no door.
The men's room had like this random.
It had like a
Doors you could
stall
close.
door in the
Yeah,
entrance.
they
but it
closed
didn't-
that.
Oh, okay. Because I'm like, it didn't have a real door.
No, but they closed the stall door thing.
Yeah, it was a stall door that led to the actual
It is.
bathroom.
It was just like the door would open up. There's like this random stall door. There's a sink and a urinal, and then the actual stall. It just didn't make sense.
Stallception.
And then there was one time there was someone in the bathroom, and I was sitting there with I don't know if you remember Jenny. Do you remember her?
JP?
No, different Jen.
Oh, then no.
Okay, don't worry about it then. And we're sitting there we're like, what the fuck is that smell? Remember that kid always come in with the poker chips?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he was in the
Oh, yeah.
bathroom for like a half hour.
Jesus.
And we're just like, this is god awful. We got up and left.
Blow it up. Yeah, that was
He
the
was
biggest
just-
problem
that was-
with there being no door on that bathroom is when somebody blew it up. If they blew it up big enough, it would seep out.
Yeah, you would smell it in like that one window side of the room.
No, we were on the other side of the room.
Yeah.
Oh God.
It was horrible.
Sounding like a job story.
Yeah. Yeah, I was about to say I could
We
as
got
much as
way
I
off
could
track.
as much as we
Poopcast
could start a
2021.
poopcast. Like as much as we could do that, like we're on to the discussion of jobs.
Well,
exactly.
but
Freddie,
here's
you
the
have
thing.
anything you'd like to
Here's
to
the
add
thing.
to
We're
this?
talking about shitty jobs. So
Oh,
That's true.
now we're talking about
There we are.
the job of shitting.
Exactly. It's just, you know.
Potato, potato.
How the turntables.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, no, I mean, I could talk about GameStop. That was also horrible. People who came in there were either just like drug addicts or like people who were like, my
At your
kids saw.
we should specify at your specific one, drug
Yeah.
addicts. Yes,
Yeah.
not all GameStops are created equal.
Yeah. Are you trying to tell me that every GameStop entrance does not lead to the same GameStop exterior?
It's just a
Interior.
pocket dimension.
Yeah.
We always had these one people who would come in and you could tell these were clearly new games that they were just stolen from another store because they had that slide. You know what I'm talking about? The new games have when you like, put them down before like the plastic on the outside of the DVD cover.
Oh,
It's kinda like
yes,
worn.
yes.
yeah.
Like you put them down, it all just slide. And I'm like, oh, I would just think to myself, oh, you stole these from somewhere. So I'd have to, bring them all in, and I'd be like, all right, I need your ID. He's like, every time he'd be like, why do you need that? I'm like, because you need it when you trade something in, dude. We go through this every single time. Because we have to legally put it into this laptop, this shitty laptop from like 2000 with running XP
I don't think XP existed in 2000 unless you
and
put
Windows
it on there.
2000, whatever.
It was
I
Windows
was gonna say,
95
if you
at the
put
time.
XP
Yeah,
on,
Windows
if you put
98.
Yeah, if you put,
ME.
I feel like
It
if you
was
put
DOS.
XP, okay,
3.1.
Like,
like
DOS,
it would
was running
probably
DOS.
blow up.
But it was like just this crappy laptop. It was like one of those ThinkPads that they are or whatever.
Oh, bro, I love
but
the
it was
ThinkPad.
It was. I think that's the one. It has like that weird little like
nub.
hard mouse button in the middle.
Yeah, those are IBM ThinkPads.
Yeah, it was one of those. The thing like never worked, but like it connected directly to the Suffolk County Police Department's server. So every time someone traded something in, we had to put in all the information on their card, and then then they could just give them the money, which you get like $5 for like 20 games. I don't know what kind of racket they were trying to pull, but
One that kept
people
him
did it.
alive for a while.
although he did get his leg run over one time, so
Oh, sick.
Damn.
it was him and his mom who would always steal games, and apparently they stole games from Target. And he was hopping into the car, and the mom just took off.
Speaking of,
So I'm like,
Real
And
Bonnie
that's why
Clyde
GameStop
right there.
has their games behind a glass shelf now.
oh, but no, that doesn't work because one of the coworkers I was working with there, the guy was like, "Oh, can I see that PSP?" "Yeah, sure. Here you go." Just ran off with it, and then he runs out from behind the counter, opens the door. They run out. He grabs onto the back window that was open on the car, and they pull him for like up the turn, and he falls off, starts rolling, and like,
Damn.
he came back like a day later, and we're just like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "Oh, I don't know. Like, you could have gotten unemployment for like 2 weeks, like not unemployment, but what's it called?
Workers' comp.
Workers' comp. Yeah, you could have gotten
Yeah.
that for like 2 or 3 weeks." He's like, "Oh yeah." Like, well, you can't now because he came back to work.
It's too late.
I remember when I was at Stop and Shop, I got stuck on self-scan for the longest time. And, you know, self-scan, you're facing away from the exit door behind you. And some moron had the idea is bread was on sale. So they put the display in the area where the carts are. So someone just took a cart and stole all the bread. And this happens like not 10 feet from me because I'm on the self-scan, but I'm facing away from it. And then this guy comes in and he's like, what was that all about? Like, you didn't stop that guy? I'm like, what? And he's like, some dude just stole all the bread from that display. And I'm like, it was behind me. Like, what was I supposed to do?
It's like, what did you do?
Yeah, I'm like, what did you
could have told
do?
me.
If you like, and he got mad because he cared more about it than I did. Because he was just like, aren't you gonna
hate
do
those people.
anything? And I'm like, I see the the general department manager walking by. I'm like, hey Matt, someone just stole all the bread from the display that you left next to the carts. And he's like, God damn it! I told them this was
Not again.
He's like, I told them this was a bad location. And he's like, oh well, like nothing we can do about it. And the customer got mad at that too. He's like, why don't you like, why aren't you? I'm like, what are you gonna do? Like, put out a blood hunt for this guy? Wanted bread
all
beef
points
dinner.
Milton.
Probably
Look out
using
for a
my
guy with
blood
a
that's being taken
truckload
from
of
those.
bread.
There was another time where I was on self-scan again, and my coworker Jody comes over, and she's like, Dale, that guy that steals ice cream all the time is here. And I'm just like, excuse me. Do we have a rogues gallery now? She's like, yeah, the guy comes in like every week and steals ice cream. And I'm like, why do we let him in the store then?
Seriously.
Because we could ban people from the store. God knows we had. There was that creepy guy that his whole family practices incest. Like, he got banned from the store. And then he...
Okay.
But
I don't even know if I want to hear that story.
There's no
do.
actual story to it. So there's this dude. He was like the grimiest guy in the world. Like 6'2", big pot belly. He wore feather dreamcatcher earrings. He always wore sweatpants and like these super old faded shirts. And he always had his hair in a ponytail. And he would come in. He would buy like 1 million scratch-offs. And then
He's gonna make it one day. He's gonna win. He's gonna get the big one.
Yeah.
one day he'll win.
And he'll move out of
Someday.
the trailer.
But his whole thing was he was one of those people that would like buy something, eat half of it, and then try to return it. And
Who does what? Who does that?
this guy, a lot of people.
I had half
actually.
this ham sandwich. I don't want the rest. Can you
Yeah.
give back my money?
Because
This
he'll
was
come in
defective.
saying, "Oh, the sandwich is bad," or he found
Yeah.
something in it. Like he'll make an
he-
excuse.
He would do it with like Gatorade bottles too. He would drink half a Gatorade and be like, "Yeah, this wasn't the one that I wanted."
What? Oh.
That's a damn shame.
Yeah.
Eventually, my department manager, Betty, probably one of the best managers I've ever worked with, because she was an older woman near retirement, and she did not give a fuck. So one day she finally like was sick of this dude's bullshit and yelled at him to get the fuck out of the store and banned him. And then he got banned from every other grocery store in Hampton Bays. And came crawling back, tail between his legs, apologizing, and yeah, they had let him back. But yeah, one of my coworkers told me that apparently his family keeps it in the family.
Keeping that bloodline pure.
Keeping that bloodline pure. God, where are those fucking feathered Dreamcatcher earrings. Pass it down generation to generation. I actually did yell at him once too myself, because he would leave his scratch offs at the end of people's counters, like that part past the belt where people leave stuff and put it on the belt. So he would just leave his garbage at the end of my register every time he came to it. And eventually I was like, can you hand me those scratch offs? He's like, why should I? I'm like, because they belong in the fucking garbage. He's like, okay, I'm sorry. I'm like, wow. All you have to do is just like raise your voice a little, and he just folds over. I'm like, all right. But yeah, did you guys have any of like that customer that always came back?
I mean, the thing is, like, all of that customer that came back were people I actually was okay with, because anyone who I wasn't, like, when I worked at Sears, like, I miss being able to yell at somebody and not be fired. Like, I could call a person stupid. Like, I could have a person come in and try to be an asshole, and I'd be like, what the fuck is wrong with you? And then not get fired. Like, they'd be like, they would complain and be like, your employee said this. Well, what the fuck is wrong with you?
Yeah, any like the regular people that were at GameStop were just like returning the game 7 days later from the used thing and just getting another one.
The rental, the endless rentals.
Yeah, the endless rentals. Like, that was the only thing, and I didn't care because a lot of them were just really cool. And I'm like, can't do anything anyway if they're following the rules.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep, nothing in the rule says dog can't beat Dark Souls in 7 days.
But I guess I could tell the story about how I was almost arrested now.
Yeah.
Everyone already knows it, but it's a good story to tell. So back when I was still working at the Sears, little to my knowledge that things were developing in the parking lot. So I'm just on the floor stocking shelves. And I'm just on, like, I'm literally just like on my sitting on my ass, because I'm like, I ain't standing up for this, because it's like those low shelves. I'm like, I'm just gonna sit down and stock this. And I just hear, "Are you Peter Smo?" Oh shit! I'm just like, do we say our full names in this podcast? I don't even know. I don't know if I've ever done that.
I'm pretty sure you did on the MTV.
I probably did. Anyway, are you Pete? And I'm like, yeah. I look up, it's 2 police officers. And I'm like, they're like, you're going to have to come with us. And I'm just like, okay. And like, the thing is, like, I wasn't really that concerned. I was more confused because literally, like, 4 days prior, my car had been, like, beaten to death by some asshole who I went to high school with.
Hood rats.
And I was just like, what's going on? And then I was like, are they like coming back for what happened to my car? Because I did put in a report for it. And then I'm walking with them, but I'm a giant, and I'm like, I have like a good 5 inches on both these cops, so they're like, quote unquote, escorting me out, but I'm just walking with them. And then I hear one of them say, "We have the suspect in custody," and I'm just like, what?
Excuse me.
And I'm like, and as soon as they say that, we walk out of the store. There's like 20 cops out the store, 10 cruisers. Like, we're surrounded. They're not letting anyone in. They're not letting anyone out of the store. So everyone who's come to the store has to leave. Anyone who's in the store is locked in the store until further notice. So my manager, who's like at the door like a hawk, is like, what the fuck's going on, Pete? What'd you do? I'm just like, oh shit, what did I do? Like, I'm just going through my head. I was like, shit, I did beat the shit out of that kid in high school last week, which led to the car being destroyed. So maybe it has to do with that. I was like, am I in trouble for that?
Is choke slamming a
the
man through a table illegal?
I mean, in high school,
Then I
no.
don't want to be in this country.
My freedom.
In high school, I'm pretty sure it's not illegal. Like, as long as you could be sent to a principal's office, you're okay. Because that's the first step. Anyway, so I'm just, like, befuddled. I was like, man, I guess I don't know what's going on. So, like, the chief of police comes up to me, and he just goes, he points to the parking lot and goes, "Is that your car? Is that your car?" And mind you, the parking lot is full. I have no idea where he's parking. Pointing at. Sorry. I have no idea where he's pointing.
Where he's parked either.
Yeah, so I'm just like, I literally said to him, "Sir, I have no idea where you're parking, but my car is the gray Buick in the front." God damn it! I said it again. God, I'm just gonna say porking.
Porking?
Because it
Pork
fits,
my car, officer.
It's a combination of the two words, and it involves police officers. So I was like, I don't know where you're porking, sir, but my car is the gray Buick in the front right there. So as soon as I say that, cops start walking towards my car, and he just whips out a piece of paper like out of his ass. I have no idea where it came from. And he just slams it on the dashboard of the car, one of the cop cars. And he's like, "We need you to sign this so we can search your car. If you don't sign it, well, then we'll just take you down to the station and get a warrant to search your car." I was like, "That's okay. I'll just sign it."
I would have been like, "Okay, let's get a warrant."
I was 18 at the time.
I wouldn't have cared. I tried to punch a cop when I was in 6th grade, so I don't care.
Have you met
That's
Freddy?
a story for another time, then. Well, that could be a story. Fun times with the cops. I have plenty of those too.
Yeah.
You do. You do.
Anyway. So, I'm like, "That's okay. I'll just sign it." So I sign it. Cops start walking to my car, and he's like, "All right, spread them." I'm like, "Oh fuck, I gotta get frisked." So I literally like have my hands on the dashboard. I spread my legs. He's like, "Do you have any weapons on you?" I'm like, "The only weapon I have on me, officer, is my work knife in my lower left pocket." And he's like, "I'll get to that." So he's like going through all my pockets. He takes out my wallet. He takes out my keys. Hands the keys to the police officer so they can get in my car without destroying it. He like takes out my work knife, my phone, anything in my pocket. It's on the dashboard. And he just sits me down on the side of the cop car. And I can't see anything that they're doing in my car because I'm like on the other side of the car. So he's like,
"Do you have any weapons?" You're like, "Just these." You start flexing and kissing your muscles.
Just these guns. Yeah.
I mean, at this point, I'm still really confused as to what the hell's going on.
Fair.
So I was in no joking mood. If I had understood what the situation was, I'd probably be more in a playful mood if I knew it was a misunderstanding, but I had no idea what was going on. I thought I was in trouble. Like, for reals. So I get sat down. I'm on the sidewalk now, behind the cruiser again. I can't see what they're doing in my car. And there's like 3 cops on my left and 2 on my right. And I'm just like, "So what's this all about?" And then one of the cops just goes, "You should know." And I'm just like, okay. I'm going through my head what I did. I'm like, I did beat that kid in high school last week. I was like,
"Yes, I should know."
like,
"Could you explain then?"
Yeah, I just love that points out a whole horrible situation to cops. Like, you're guilty now just because they think you did something.
I'm just like, I don't know what's going on still. I'm like, okay. I'm literally going through my life for the past couple months. Like, what did I do? Like, that's this bad. Like, I don't know. So I'm like sitting on the sidewalk, like 10 minutes go by, and then they stand me up. And then the police chief is just like, "All right, we didn't find anything." I was like, okay. And then as I said that, all the cops converged on me and start walking towards me. And I'm like, this is it. This is where I get my ass beat. This is where I get the shit kicked out of me and or die by cop. And then they just like literally out of a movie. For unknown reasons. I don't know what's going on. They all start walking in on me like I'm in a fucking horror movie.
They knew you were born black,
and then,
so they're like, "Beat him. Beat his testicles."
And I'm just like, "Oh god, this is it." And the police chief walks in. He's like up to my face, and then he just goes, "All right, you're free to go." And I'm like, "What?" And then all the cops start dispersing, and they start letting people in and out of the stores again. And my manager just bolts out. She's like, "What the hell just happened?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I would also like to know what's going on." And then the police chief is like, "We got a report of someone walking around with an assault rifle in the parking lot, and they gave us your license plate." And I'm like, "Well, you can clearly see now that wasn't me because I was working." And they're like, "Yes." So my manager is just like pissed off at them, and I'm like just relieved I'm not getting my ass kicked. It's like, that's how traumatizing it was. It's like, I'm not upset by the situation. I'm relieved that I'm not dead.
Could have shot them.
So,
they were threatening you.
And they
were
didn't
coming
take
in at
your
you.
assault rifle, so that's a plus.
Yeah.
They took my gun, Freddy. I couldn't protect myself.
Well, what I'm confused about is like there was a
You got to
guy-
stand your ground, though. They were threatening you. You.
No, that
had,
only works in
reasonable
Florida,
cause.
bro.
Yeah.
Wait, so what I don't get is there was a guy walking around with an assault rifle, and the link was your license plate.
I'm pretty sure it
So
was
here's
probably
the
just
thing.
somebody
Get
calling
out
in
of
a
a car.
bullshit call.
Yeah.
So yeah, well, here's the thing. There's more to the story. The story's not over. Like for you, some of you might not know the actual sequel to
I
the story.
might not actually.
So what happened is after. Yeah, I know like, at least Freddy has to know.
I think I do. Yeah.
So after this happens, I go back into the store, and all my coworkers who were not working because everybody was locked in and no one was coming in, were like, Pete, what the fuck did you just do? And I'm just like, apparently I was walking around with an assault rifle in the parking lot. So I took my lunch. I called my mom, and I was just like, Mom, this happened. She's furious. Calls police. They're just like, there's nothing you can do. There's nothing we can do. Well. So.
Yeah, you signed
Whatever.
your rights away.
So, like, a couple of weeks go by, and I'm, like, in the store doing work. One of my coworkers comes up to me, dragging another one of my coworkers. And he points at me and says, tell him. And he's like, I don't want to tell him. And he's like, tell him, or I'm going to tell him. And he's like, fine. So, coworker number 2 is just like, Pete, it's my fault you almost got arrested the other day. And I'm just like, excuse me?
Start cracking your knuckles. Well, time to get arrested for real.
Yeah.
And he's like, you remember? So there was someone walking around with an assault rifle in the parking lot. I'm the one who called the cops on him. He just happened to have the same exact car as you, and my girlfriend gave the cops your license plate. And I was like, the fuck, man. So he's like, also, do you remember when all the cops like converged in on you at the end? And I was like, yeah, I thought they were gonna whoop my ass. He's like, yeah, well, in that convergence, I was in one of the cop cruisers, and the police officer in the cruiser with me pointed at you and said, is that the man? To which I respond, oh, for the love of God, no, he's my coworker, please, he's innocent, don't hurt him. So please let him go. And he's just like, so I'm really sorry. I didn't know how to tell you. So I told coworker number 1. I'm obviously not using names. Like I told coworker 1, and he got pissed for you. And I was like, well, I'm glad that you told the truth, but fuck you.
And then you choke slammed him through a table.
No, I didn't. But then he sold my brother a car for a discounted price.
Oh, there you go.
All right.
Yeah, benefits, Just gotta almost get your ass beat by the cops.
Yeah.
Also, I love the phrase. Do you remember when they were converging on you? No, I don't. Remind me. What was that like?
It was the demon bear. He's back. He's in the parking lot. See, Pete, think about it. Think about it, right? If they would have beat you so bad that you lost both your legs, and then you had to walk in, and I was sitting at the door, I'd be like, some shit just went down outside the parking lot. Don't want to be out there.
Rob, I keep telling
God.
you, parking lot demon bear doesn't exist.
You can't hurt me.
It's fine, Rob. It's fine. We got you the therapy sessions. They'll help. But Rob,
it's literally that meme of, like, blank can't hurt my therapist. Blank can't hurt you, and then it's a picture of some creepy ass fucking shit.
Yeah.
but this okay. Before we continue, I want Rob
Is this the moment?
to tell the story. Yes, because we're really into the podcast, and this is the whole reason I badgered you, is because I want this story to be told, because it pisses me off, but it's still hilarious.
So I had to get alerted to the recording of this podcast today, about 10 minutes before I showed up, because I needed to.
Well, that's your own fault for not listening to our messages.
And, well, I also figured that you had people, and I was doing other stuff. So
I needed you on this one. Once I found out what the topic we were actually doing was, I was like, no, we can't do this without internet celebrity Rob Lowe.
So once upon a time, I wasn't even Rob Jr. at this point. I was still grown ass Rob. Yeah, no. What was it? It was after I graduated. Yeah, it was after I graduated college, and you know, it had a little bit of a rocky start getting finding employment, and but you know, still was out and about doing what I had to do and everything. Eventually, I did get a job, and but I didn't tell people that I had a job. So what happened was, and the thing is, so yeah, and so Pete would be like, "Oh, you want to hang out? You want to do this? You want to do that?" Or whoever else, you know, JP or whoever else we were hanging out with at the time. And I'd always be down for it, and I would always have money, specifically $100 bills.
Yeah, it would piss me off to no end.
Pete,
because he would always be whipping out scene
hundos.
No, the reason I hated it is because I was concerned that you were wasting all your money, because I knew you weren't working at the club anymore, and you were just, and as far as I knew, you hadn't been working for a long time, but you would always show up with $100 bills, because, you know, at the time I didn't know you were paying your bills, and you just happened to have that money on you, but you would just whip out a fucking $100 bill. I'm like, Rob, what the fuck? Are you okay?
Maybe I was counterfeiting bills, bro. Why you gotta throw me under the bus?
Or maybe you were selling rock on the corner.
Yeah. But yeah, so you know, I ended up working. I got a job at a bank and working normal business hours. So basically, when everybody
was this when I started working on the was I already working on the opposition?
Yeah.
So I was already
because
working.
You started
in
before
my job,
I did.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I thought. I thought I started first, but I can't tell. Well, I don't know where the timeline starts and the things end because you fucked with me so
yeah,
much.
no, dude. Well, you started way before me, dude.
All right, continue.
Yeah, so anyway, so everybody, when they're out of business hours, I'm getting home anyway, so everybody would be like, "Oh, Rob, you want to hang out?" And I'd be down because I'm just working, you know, regular 9 to 5. I'm not doing anything weird. Like, I'm not working in, like, a store or anything where I have to work, like, closing hours or what have you. So, anytime anybody wants to hang out, I'm probably down, unless I just don't feel like it. And I work at a bank. I get deposits at that bank. But I also pay my bills at a different bank. You know, that's hooked into all my online accounts and everything. So, anytime I'd want to transfer money over, I just take out, you know, however many hundreds of dollars, and I'd have it in my wallet until I go to the other bank and deposit it. So if we hang out on weekends, normally I would take money out on like a Friday or a Saturday, and I'd have it for like Monday, Tuesday. I would just have, you know, however many hundreds of dollars in my wallet in hundos. So anytime we'd be out with Pete, he'd be like, "We'll go somewhere," and I would just pull out some fresh stacks of these blue boys. And Pete would always freak out every time. He was just like, "What the fuck, Rob?"
It really started out with me just being like, "Rob, you really probably shouldn't be wasting all your money when you don't have a job." And you're just like, "It's fine." And then it just started going.
Yeah, because we would just be like, because we wouldn't even do it. It would be like, "Oh, do you guys want to go out and eat?" And I'd be like, "Yeah, sure, why not?"
Yeah. And then you just started like flashing it, and I'm just like, "Fuck you," and you see notes.
Oh, my favorite part was when you called me again in your habit of calling me like right before something needs to be done. When you called me over to go to Game On, and you're like, "Yo, Tristan got a PS4 and he literally just got it in. He's trying to sell it," and I'm like, okay. So I head over there after hours, and I'm like, all right, and I'm just like 100, and Pete's like, "What the fuck?" And I pull out a second 100, and Pete's literally getting mad and about to just like literally pay for this PS4 in $100 bills. And I was only told about 10 minutes beforehand.
Yeah, I was like, "How did you get?" I was like, "I expected to pay with card." I was like, "What the fuck? Are you kidding me?" You almost did it. You almost.
I only had $200 in hundreds on. I think that was all I had.
Because he was selling it for like $285.
Yeah, something like that. And I didn't have the extra 100 on me. So I think I ended up having to pay with card because I didn't have enough.
You just did it to be an ass.
Yeah, and I remember Pete's literally like walking towards the door. He's like, "If you pull out a third $100 bill," like, and I'm just like, "No, I literally only had those two on me." But yeah, so there's a lot of stories just involving me paying stuff with hundos, just cause we'd be out like
just to piss
we'd
me
be
off.
out at a restaurant and everything, and everybody would pay their part or whatever, and I would just take their money, and everybody's just like, "What the fuck you doing?" And I would just like throw down 100, be like, "Just making change for myself, boys." It's just like, what the? Pete never knew I was working, right? So
No, I didn't, because you didn't tell me, and I would always say, Rob, you should probably watch.
yeah, so Pete's
watch
worried
how
about
much
my
you're spending without a
finances /
job.
getting mad at me paying with hundreds all the time. And so he's just like, "Rob, where are you getting this money? What the fuck are you always getting this money from?" And I'm like, and I'm just trying to, I'm like, "Don't worry about it, bro. Don't worry." He's just like, "No, Rob, I'm worried about you. Where you getting this money from? You can't just be spending all your money all the time." And I'm just like, "Bro, all right. You really want to know? I'm a fisherman. I've been working the hard sea hours in the morning." And he's just like, "What?" And I sold it for like the longest time of just me being a fisherman, because
Like, the whole thing is, I didn't believe you, but at the same time, I was like, is it possible? Like, I had the air of doubt, but I still didn't want to believe
is it possible that this man who doesn't like fishing could be a fisherman?
Listen,
I
people
guess.
people do jobs they hate all the
Yeah.
time.
Oh yeah, I'm walking proof of that.
Yeah.
You're living proof of that.
Am I alive? Who knows?
Nope. But and
but
because
that's
again,
gaslighting at its finest.
hours wise, you never saw me working. I was always down to do stuff. So it was kind of like, all right, he has to be doing if he's working, he has to be doing something before, evening time. Yeah, so this went on for a while and everything. Eventually, a few people started to know bits and pieces of the truth. Pete's
my
own
own family
brother.
knew before
Pete's
me.
own brother. So I started at a different bank, at a different location. Ended up in his local bank, right? And one day,
Yeah.
his brother, who doesn't even have an account with us, just drives up at the drive-thru and is using our drive-thru ATM. For whatever reason, I'm in the back
it's free.
by the drive-up area, and I just see him roll through, and I'm like, "Yo, is that Pete's brother?" And I turned the mic on, and I'm like, "Yo!" And he pulls his car back, and I'm like, "Ah!" And he's like, "Ah!" And I'm like, "Yo, don't tell Pete. He doesn't know I work here." And he's like, "I bet." This was before bet, but you know what I'm saying.
I was gonna say.
Yeah, that bet didn't exist however many years ago. Maybe it did, and we just didn't know about it.
Hey, it's
Maybe.
possible.
But yeah, so Pete's own family knew about it, and it was just the funniest thing. And again, so this went on for this had to go on for about 2 years.
It went on for definitely
Because
over a year.
it
No
took
doubt.
me at least a year to transfer over to the location near you. So yeah, and then there was a time in between when I graduated where I couldn't find a job. So yeah, this was a year and a half, 2 years that you were just had no clue what was going on with my finances. And actually, yeah, it would be 2 years, because the moment that Pete found out the truth. So I graduated. When did I graduate? Like June, May, whenever you graduate from college.
Sure, the graduation month.
Yeah, graduation month, and then full year,
Graduary.
which I would have still been at the original location, and then second year, Black Friday, Brown Thursday, actually,
Yeah.
Thanksgiving. Freddy's there.
Yep.
We're at my
this was
house.
our
We're all
tradition.
meeting at my house
start-
because my house is, the farthest one east, and we always go shopping towards the east.
True.
For whatever, and so
Dale, this was
Oh,
this was before you.
what? No, because
Like before you joining.
no,
was it? No, because I definitely was around when Rob was
No.
telling you that he
No,
was a
you
fisherman.
no, you were I'm saying we're friends, but like this is like you never joined us.
yeah, he never
on
came with
Black
us
Friday.
Black
Oh,
Friday
yeah,
shopping.
you're right.
But yeah, so we're at my house and we're ready to go. And before we leave, my mom's just like, "Rob, are you working tomorrow?" And I'm like, "Shut up." And she's like, "No, but I need to
As
know
soon
if you're
as-
working." And I'm like, "Shut up." "But are you And
As
she's like
soon as-
insistent. "Are you working tomorrow?"
Yeah.
No, but I need to know if you're working. And I'm like, shut up. And she's like, "No, but are you?" And I'm just like, "Ugh." And then Pete's just like, "Wait, Rob's mom.
I
does
like
he
and
work?"
in that moment, Yeah, in that moment, I could not believe it didn't occur to me to ask your mother where you were.
No, you did.
Like,
dude.
for over 2 years, about 2 years, I have
you
been
mean,
to your
like,
house plenty
yeah.
of times. And I'm just like, I cannot believe I never thought to ask your mother where it is that you worked.
Yeah. And literally, for no reason at all. It's not like she even needed anything out of me. She just wanted to know if I wasn't going to be home the next day. And I'm like, why? Why does this matter? And I was so tight for the rest of the night. Because I'm like, there's no reason that this long con should have just been ended the way it was. For no reason at all. Zero reason.
Like, I saw how dead you looked inside. Like, after I found out, like, your head was, like, down. You had a nasty look on your face, like, fucking god damn it. I am so mad. Like, I can only imagine how much fun you had.
It was great. And then the thing is, other people knew about it. JP, I don't know if JP ever got introduced in this podcast, but we've already mentioned her once in passing.
We've mentioned her before.
We've mentioned her a few times.
But
Yeah.
yeah, she knew. Like, other people knew, and it was always the thing of like when people knew, it was just like, all right, don't tell Pete, because her family had an account with my bank, so yeah. And then Pete found out, and I was so mad. And then a couple of months later, or a couple of years later, I don't remember. Your parents came to my bank.
Yeah, I knew you were gonna bring that one up
too. They turned their back on you at the opposition.
No, this was during the Great Conversion, where like anything that your name was on showed up, which I don't understand why it's a problem. They're not linked to the other accounts.
Yeah, dude.
At all.
Ours,
it's just
ours
that
did
anything
the
with
same
your
thing eventually when we changed our online systems.
Yeah, that's the thing that people don't understand. They're like, I don't want to see this account with this account.
You
I'm
can
like,
hide
why?
it.
They're
you can
not
separate it. You can hide it. Well, I guess I don't know what your options you guys
people
have.
don't know how. People don't know how to use technology, and my parents are definitely one of them. Like, the only reason Mom knows how to use anything is because I've shown her how to do it.
But it was great. I was on lunch too. Like, I think I maybe went to Wendy's or pizza or whatever have you. So I'm coming back with food, and I just see your parents stepping out of their car, and I'm like, yo! And they're like, oh, we're here to make accounts. And I'm like, oh, I would help you, but I literally just went to lunch a few minutes ago. So I walk them in, I make sure nobody's there, I sit them down at, I don't even remember if it was...
It was a desk.
Yeah,
I remember.
obviously.
It was one of those.
I'm just trying to remember who I had them sit down with. But I don't think it matters. And I literally am just like, all right, here, these are my boys' parents. Treat them right. Do whatever they want. Blah, blah, blah. and then as they were doing it, because I literally just walked into whoever's office, and I'm just like, you're doing this for them. And so then they went to like finish up whatever they were doing. They had to step out of their office for like 30 seconds. So I ended up taking a selfie with your parents and sending it to you. Be like, hey, Pete,
while I'm
feels
at
like.
work. Yeah, while I was at work, I get this text message from Rob. I'm like, Rob, what does he want this early? Because you never text me at any time before 4, but you will text me at the very latest 4 in the morning.
Well, that's also because you never like answer your phone at work. Well, at least you did.
I don't. I make it a fucking fact and a statement that I don't answer my phone or respond to things if it's not important. If I'm on lunch, that's one thing. Like, I'll get to it then, but I won't respond. But then I saw that you actually sent me a text. I was like, Rob never sends me a text at this time. So I'm sitting at my desk, and then I just see my parents and you just like, the text just said, this is what betrayal looks like. And I'm just like, you son of a bitch.
Fucking professional businessman not answering his phone during hours. Fuck you, businessman.
Not anything work related, but professional businessman story. Pete, remember when we were on the train back from Manhattan and we ended up
oh my god, yes, everyone was so pissed at us, like that in our friend group, because so me and Rob have stonks, and because of that we like to discuss like how good our stocks did or what we might buy or stuff like that, like businessman things. And me and Rob were separated from everyone because the train was packed, so we're just like sitting in that 4-person seat like with one other guy who's like on his laptop also doing business things. So when me and Rob start talking about stocks, he literally like closes his laptop. He's like, "You guys talk about stocks?"
I think I was in the seat next to you.
No,
guys
you
with
were
this.
you were for like three.
You and Jenny-
You were like 3 seats down because at some point
Yeah.
you just poked your head through the little like a hole area, and we would just see you
the little
like
hole in
just
the
grilling us and doing that Freddy stare of like no.
You were
We're
mean
just-
mugging us super hard. I'm getting text messages from Jenny Payne just sitting right next to you, and
saying
she's
her
just
whole
like,
name.
"Stop." Just Crab Dad that then.
I mean, it's one name. It's just that's her entire name, bro. It's one word.
Yeah, JP. Like there's a million Jen Paynes though.
Yeah.
So, but either way, like she's like sending me text messages saying, "Stop talking about business."
And
things."
then that just makes us
No one
talk
wants to
harder
hear-
about business. Things.
Yeah, we just like go super hard on things, and it's just so fucking funny.
Yeah. It's the
Well,
the best part about working in a financial establishment.
mm-hmm.
I think if we have time for one more story,
All right, let's go for
the
it.
story of me working for the shadiest job ever.
Oh God, yes.
Oh
When I
yeah.
worked in the fucking vape mines.
Oh, I love the vape mines.
I only love one part of the
Well, I
vape
don't
mine
love the vape
story.
mines. I love your stories.
There's like a few good stories, but yeah. So I got a job. It was very vaguely descriptive in the job ad, and I got there. And I had an interview with a man who ended up being my supervisor. His name was literally Chad.
What a chat.
He was vaping during my interview. and I'm like, wow, that's incredibly unprofessional. Because like when I was filling out my application, there was a dude next to me. I was like wearing, button-up shirt and some nice pants and some nice shoes. And this dude's next to me in like t-shirt and jeans and he's vaping. And I'm like, all right then. So I got the job and they're like, so do you know anything about this company? I'm like, no. They're like, well, we make vape products. And I'm like, oh. Well then, that explains
a lot.
a number of things. Yeah, so I worked there for a while, and yeah, it was the shadiest thing. I found out the company was started by a man who scammed investors out of a couple $1 million. Used a good portion of it to start the company, after telling them that it was real estate that he was getting into. He opened a vape company, bought a couple expensive cars, spent a fortune on tanning salon trips, and then just gave a bunch of the money to his, at the time, wife. So, yeah, that job was great. At some point, we had 40 pounds of weed in one room.
Hashtag weed room.
Hashtag weed room. They had to replace the locks to that room with extra security because no one could be trusted with it. Yeah, it was great. And then at some point, the CEO disappeared for a couple weeks, and our accounts got frozen, so no one could get paid for 2 weeks. And then no one could reach him, and then he just showed up, and it was never mentioned again. And then I left 2 weeks later.
To
yeah,
go
it was-
to the vape mines of Florida.
No, I went to Maryland after that.
Oh yeah, true.
Yeah.
I
But
bet.
yeah. Yeah, I totally work for vape mines now. No, I don't.
Exclusively.
I work for a courthouse.
At
I
the
work for
vape
the
mines.
Yeah, the courthouse vape mines.
I would believe that there are courthouse vape mines underneath those stones.
I mean, hey, lawyers got a vape.
Yeah.
True.
no, children got
Yeah,
a vape.
bro. Get the cotton
yeah.
candy flavor out there.
There was a lot of times where the vape mines were one of my coworkers was like, "You ever think about how many children probably smoke these things?" I'm like, "Yeah, I don't really care.
Dale's not
That's
in it
how
for
we're
the
making our
kids.
money, bro.
I'm in it for the money." Oh,
I mean,
God.
yeah, when you literally make the flavors as sweet and candy-ish as possible. Yeah.
Dude,
I wonder who
yeah,
your
I'd go
target
home.
market is.
I would go home smelling so nice.
Just
great.
get the just ask them if you could get the scent.
Yeah, any time that that was like, "What are we shipping out today?" And they're like, "We're shipping out let's see, 500 pods of unicorn nipples. I'm like, yes, this is gonna be a good day.
Oh my god, that's horrible.
It was Skittles flavored.
It's not real unicorn nipples, Pete.
Like
Yeah,
this is if I didn't know better, like I probably would have started smoking when I was younger with this shit. But I hate like because the whole thing is like when
I'm
we grew
almost
up, all
surprised
there was cigarettes.
because your brother like fucking smokes.
Well, you had that.
Andrew had. I had the fake vape because that was when vaping started and they're like, hey, flavors, and I tried it and I'm like, eh. I mean, at that point I didn't really care. I occasionally did it for social things, but nobody we know really smoked,
I don't remember
so I
you
didn't
ever
do it
doing
ever.
it.
Yeah.
Oh, I've done it a few. I remember one time, like, because I used to yell at my dad all the time when I was younger for smoking, because he had, it's like we have, bad health problems in the family because of it. So I remember one day Dad picked it back up, and I was just like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "None of your business." So I ran upstairs and grabbed my electric vape, and I just started smoking on the porch with him. And he's like, "Where the hell did you get that?" And I just looked at him and said, "I learned it from you, Dad."
Jesus Christ. God, remember all those years ago when we were so naive? We thought vaping was the worst thing that could happen. Anyway.
Yeah. Anyway, that was a fun podcast, and I feel like we barely scratched
I'm
the
still
surface
confused
of
on
job
whether or not
stories.
Dale was being facetious or not in that comment.
Wait, what?
I don't even know how to spell
Yeah.
that word.
About vaping being
Facetious
the
about
worst
what?
thing that could happen to us.
Oh, I was.
Oh, okay.
2020 happened.
Okay. Like I'm kind of like, wait, what? Like,
Yep.
this is what happens when
Take-
2020
take
makes
us home,
us.
Freddy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that was the Internet Nobodies podcast. We talked about a lot of shit tonight, and thank you all for listening. I've been Freddie.
I've been Pete. Hope you found everything today.
I'm internet celebrity Rob Lowe, and like me on Facebook. Follow me on
You don't
Twitter.
have that.
I'm still
That's
Dale,
been-
and for the last time, no, there isn't any in the back.
And that's been the podcast. Have a good one.
Do employers actually check your applications? Will internet celebrity Rob Lowe return to his one true love, the sea? And who was responsible for the floor shit? Was it Pete, the new guy Johnny, or was it actually I see Rob Lowe himself? Find out next time on the podcast.